Okay. This is PSA, Philly service announcement. As y'all can see, y'all know, grab that merch. Y'all love it. PSA, Philly service announcement. Takeover Tuesday, takeover, love, support, grace, social activism, resources, and art. I am the assist, African support and strength, inspiration, and success together. My right hand sister, she should be pulling up, but if not, I'm gonna hold it down because she's a multi-dimensional queen. Something I talk to a lot of my sisters about, like, you not just mom, you somebody lady, you somebody wife, you a co-worker, you a friend, you a aunt, you a sister, you a lot of things. And I respect all of those things. And my co-host, she shows me how important those things in and when you do them well, And she's one of them sisters that'll help out. Help you do it well too. So, that's Nick, Raw Cannon, the Queen. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Took always, man. Took let me get 2 hours last week to talk about myself. So now I always appreciate that, brother. I was having a conversation with a brother earlier. He might be stopping by, you know what I'm saying? I think I seen him outside, so he might be showing up. But we was having a conversation about like the environment, this environment. And I always feel comfortable coming in here. You know what I mean? And it's mainly it's a lot of black men that come through here. And you know how they got y'all scared of black men, especially the young ones. They got y'all super scared of our young men. You know what I'm saying? But I've come in here, men of all different ages, people of all different ages, a lot of entertainment. It's rap, hip hop. We talk about messaging and all that. But the environment has never felt on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, any time that I came in here, it's always been a family environment. And you got to look to the leadership for that. And he's a black owned institution. We got to start calling them what they are. If you've been doing it for 20 years, it's an institution. Now, hopefully the institution is producing the things that it's supposed to do for our people, if you're saying that black people is the ones that's running this institution. But for me, it is. And he called me about a documentary they was doing. You know what I mean? And I really appreciated that call because I've been doing it here for 2 years now. 2 years. But I know a lot of people been rocking way longer. You know what I mean? So for him to call me and tell me, come through, pull up, had something to say. So me and the brother was talking about, what Glockerware is. If sometimes you doing stuff and you don't really recognize how impactful it is until other people tell you, because you're in the middle of it. So you like, it could be more, it could be better, it could, you know what I'm saying? You searching for that perfection in it, So I just want to make sure I always, show that love to being on Glockerware, to running it how you run it, and the environment being what it is. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those people that's going to try to maintain this environment and bring people into the fold, because it really is a good look for it. So I'm a run a couple things down before I get to the queen and the king in the building. So we have we do our community table at Cornerstone every Wednesday, but we have a theme, I guess you could say it is, and we having a community table about SEPTA. So anything that you can, all things SEPTA. It's not about just SEPTA being dirty. It's not about SEPTA not being on time or security. It's about, hey, me and somebody had a conversation earlier, like, we need to rely more on SEPTA because there's way too many cars. And this is a very congested city. And it might do some wonders for our environment if more people did take SEPTA. But then SEPTA has to be a welcoming place for people to want to get on it and not drive a car. So the conversation we're going to talk about employment, being employed by SEPTA because it's a good job. You know what I'm saying? And they are a second chance, if that's what you want to call it, a re-entry job. If you've been home for a year, I think they need to probably change that part, because a lot of cats like myself who are returning citizens, as they call it, I'm trying to get it so much. A year, I'm not waiting for that. I'm not even going to look back. Once I start getting on the road of employment, I'm not going to look back. And then I'm not going to tell other cats that's coming home, because I'm going to tell them, well, you got to wait. You got to be home for a year to apply to SEPTA. It's never going to happen then. Because either I'm going to make it happen or I'm going to already be locked back up, unfortunately. So I think that's something that need to be changed. But tomorrow, 2331 in the event space, 2331 North Broad Street. We are at 6 o'clock is going to start. You can come down to the center, Cornerstone 2321, 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. We fill in the gaps in your life. Like whatever we can help with, we going to make sure that we do a handheld approach to getting you that help. But we got to come up with an action plan as well. Like you can come and get as many resources, but then once you come a few times, then okay, why are you still in the same situation? We need an action plan. And it's unfortunate because that's at the point where some people stop coming. So I know that's a cultural thing that's going on with us about services and what they supposed to be for. You know what I mean? So I'm open to that question. I understand my people. I understand things we've been to. So we ain't turning nobody away. But you're going to need an action plan. You come a couple times, just letting y'all know. We going to prepare an action plan. Carlita, Nisha, somebody going to sit down with you and say, well, so what you need that's on this referral? Because we can actually get it for you. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I got a flyer. I don't promote, candidates and all that, but it's a job fair going on at Belfield Rec Center between 11 and 2. I get so many flyers, man. Those are just two that I remember. One that we're doing, one that was sent to me. I'm sure my guests have some places and times that y'all need to be that's important to what's going on in this city with black folk and just people in general. Like always, we give out the food on Thursdays, the community table. We will have food. I know I'm forgetting something, but I want to get into my guest because he writing some stuff down. I'm telling y'all, when he be writing stuff down, it's some real stuff about to be said. It's just the last time we talk, every time we talk, I love good conversation, but I love when people love themselves, and I'm using this on purpose, to look stuff up. That's a love thing. That's a self-love thing for you to understand why things are going on around you. The only way you're going to understand if you love yourself and you want to put yourself in a better situation, whatever that is to you, you're going to have to look some stuff up. You're going to have to research some things. And that's one of the things that really, the brother's like, look, I was researching this during the whole pandemic, what we was talking about before, because I'm sure he probably got that and some more going on. So I always appreciate research. And that's a beautiful thing. It leads me into something else that I do that I'm still doing. It's PAR, Participatory Action Research, through Fathership Foundation. Shout out to my brother, Dr. Wilson. He's always he's a returning person. He come up here and grind some folks up, get ground up a little bit. But, again, good conversation, and we getting a lot of information out there so that we could start having, we could use these resources to solve things. You know what I mean? And not just have them. Like I got resources given out, but are we solving things with these resources? So I do PAR. That's we doing research on gun violence. I'm still doing interviews. I got like 4 interviews lined up. I did like 4 over the weekend. We want young folks 16 to 24 years old who've been in the mix, because we want to hear from the people who everybody's talking about. When I was working at one of my jobs, I got direct access to young men that was really out here doing stuff, and it was like, the older generation, the news, the cops is all telling a story, but when I was sitting in a room with these brothers, I would hear a different story. And I'm like, not that their story is the only story to be believed, but if we're all talking about them, but nobody's telling me what they're saying. And then I had an opportunity to hear what they're saying. And that's something else we're doing with this research. We're finding out, why are y'all push and play like y'all push and play? Why is this a cultural thing where masks are it's attire now? It's styling, you know what I'm saying? Like wearing your mask. You throw it on with the rest of your gear now. You got the mask to go with what you're wearing. One of the things I tell a lot of people about, if they pay attention to our young people, is they are taking on the culture of the city that they've been given. So Philadelphia is the poorest big city in the nation. And mind you, it's the second largest city in the East Coast. I tell y'all that all the time because I need y'all to understand proximity when it comes to Philadelphia. Like, what is Philadelphia to a certain extent? The 5th largest media market. That means money can be made here because there's a lot of eyes on stuff. It's a lot of print media. It's a lot of, news media. It's a lot. That's why we have the sports teams that we have in a major city. So our young people are seeing all of this production going on, and they right there beside it, but they not getting none of it. So when you see our young men with their hair like that, when they only need a lineup, that's because the lineup is affordable. Getting a whole haircut is $30. Poorest big city in the nation. Most of our young men don't have it. So now they got a hairstyle that's easy for them to all have, and it's affordable. When you see everybody wearing Dickie suits, that's not by accident. Dickie suits are affordable and they durable, they last. And you could wear a Dickie suit multiple days in a row and nobody's gonna say anything. That's a style that they adopted because they live in poverty. They don't even know it half of the time. Their sneakers. You notice it's okay for your 990s to be a little scuffed up. Your Yeezys to be a little dirty. Long as you got them, because you're going to have them for a while. Because how many of y'all can really afford $200 sneakers? So now we made it okay for the sneakers. When I was a young boy, your shoestrings couldn't even be dirty. But I grew up in another culture. I grew up in drug dealer culture. And there was some money involved in drug dealer culture. So that's how you tried to move, even though we were still impoverished people. But now there is no money. That's why you see the violence is the commodity now. That's what make you who you are. Before, you could have been getting money and not been violent, and people would respect it to a certain extent. But now it's like the violence is the thing, and our young women have adopted that too. That's the dude that she liked, the one that they scared of. That's gonna move, and she's gonna like my brother always says, we have to start having conversations about activating the shooter. Our young women not knowing, and they activating the shooters. And these young boys is definitely going to move out because this is like the only way that they can say that I'm somebody. So just watch what's going on in your city. Be mindful, but I'm doing PAR, participatory action research. We talk a lot about structural violence and what that is, cultural violence and what that is. You know what I'm saying? So we going to get into it a little bit more. I'm going to definitely have my PAR team come up, you know, and talk about the research because we're almost done doing our surveys and our interviews, you know. So, again, shout out to Yasa, shout out to Brooklyn, Sharon, Sarah, Wasima, Brittany, definitely Dr. Wilson, you know, everybody with the Fathership Foundation, and my man Coach Rock. You know, we do the man-to-man at the Fathership Foundation. And I really like facilitating that and being that I had the brothers come in the room and be solution-based. But more than anything, and this is definitely a tip my cap to Dr. Wilson, we always got young men in there that's from these situations that need this. Because a lot of times when I'm in spaces and we talking about these young folks and what we want to do for them, ain't no young folks in the room. Mm-hmm. And if it is, it's our kids. It's our young folks who need the services, but they got me. They got you, whoever's else in the room. So it's like, yeah, they need it, but they not, quote unquote, at risk. And somebody on my show said one time, all young folks are at risk because of how their brains work. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real thing. Money doesn't really determine that, for real, for real. Young folks gonna do stuff just because their mind is not developed to the point where they can make sound, solid decisions. And we need to be very cognizant of that when we start talking about them little niggas. I'm just telling y'all what y'all say, what I hear y'all saying. The little that little nigga, them little nigga, you know what I'm saying? So understand that little nigga has to have some orientation so he won't be a little nigga. So that might be your fault, the one that's talking about the little niggas. So I'm not going to ramble on too much long because I know my brother and my sister, the queen and the king, have a lot. They taking notes and everything. This is a different level. There's notes going on here and everything, paperwork out here. I feel like I'm somebody, yo. That people is taking what I do on this to be that serious that, you know, they don't even understand, man. But can y'all please introduce yourselves because I don't introduce nobody. Nobody can introduce you like you. These are friends to the show because they've been here before. Friends to the community because they be in the community, definitely. So can y'all tell everybody? Y'all pull a microphone up to you a little bit so we can make sure we get you.
Yeah. Ladies first, go ahead.
I am Mama Gail. I am an activist. I advocate for children and families in the public school district. I assist children, parents in whatever system their children are learning in. However, I can help them. I have been involved in schools for over 30 years, and I'm committed. But before I let my husband introduce himself, I just want you to know how proud I am.
No, thank you.
To be sitting here beside you. I am so impressed, and I talk about you young people all the time. Our children are 46 and 49 years old, and to sit and we're really, really proud of them
Mhm.
and our grandchildren and great grandchildren. But to watch the work that you all are putting in, it just inspires me.
Mhm.
And so I let my husband speak on now.
Thank you too. Thank you.
but
Yeah.
but I needed to say that
Mhm.
because just hearing you articulate is something that's so important. Whenever I'm working with young people, one of the things that I do is do public speaking with
Mm.
them. So go ahead, baby.
Yes, thank you. Time. My name is Horace Clouden. Yes, I'm
Mhm.
Mama Gail's husband,
Mhm.
and I'm a member of the Parent Community Advisory Council to the Board of Education.
One more time, give them that. Give them that again, so they can understand that it even exists. Because people don't
Yeah.
be knowing. For real, we need to know.
Parent Advisory Council to the Board of Education,
And
and a member of Mama Gail's Educational
you don't even know.
Network.
Mama Gail's, a member of Mama Gail's, an intricate part of
Right.
Mama Gail's Community Education Network.
Mhm.
Okay, if I may just jump right into it because yes,
Definitely, definitely.
everything is vital. You know what I've been advising the board to do for the last 2 years. First, number one is to bring back junior high schools. You know, this seventh and eighth and ninth grade configuration of the schools. Right now, we have what they call a K to 8, kindergarten to eighth grade, and then after eighth grade, an eighth grader is supposed to pick a high school of their choice, you know, to find their fit in a high school after being, I would say, caged in a location for 8
Mm.
or possibly 9 years. Let's just get downright with it, you know, caged in a certain environment. You know, the K to 8 is nothing more than an extended elementary school. Their mental and physical growth stops once they hit seventh grade. You know, eighth grade comes on, then they move into ninth grade. Then they're in an atmosphere of a high school where they're just totally lost, you know. But here again, we advocate to bring back junior high schools. But what's the immediate thing that's on the docket right now is that we have 5 indoor Olympic-sized swimming pools that need to be opened immediately. You know, there's a when they talk about the pools, they always reference the outdoor pools that's owned and operated by the city. But the school district has 5, well, totally they have 7 indoor Olympic-sized swimming pools where actually 5 of the 7 are training facilities. You know, talking about your Olympic-sized pool area, then you have a diving well. You know, diving wells are unique to a pool, which none of the city pools have a diving well. So therefore, when you need that specialized training to become a lifeguard, you just can't get it from an outdoor pool. You know, when you need, like they would say, springboard diving training to help you get into a college, you don't have it on an outdoor swimming pool. You have it in these training facilities. But guess what, public? 4 of the 5 are closed. And what's on the table right now is to just bring back one pool. You know, the school district wants to satisfy a student body of 200,000 students with just bringing back one pool. Right now, we have a 1 pool to 219 school ratio. You know, just bringing back the one pool would just cut that in half. But what we want to do is say to the school district, say to the school board, it stops right now, stops right here. Either you bring back the 5 pools, and then I add on bring back junior high schools. If not, you need a new superintendent. Even though you just got this superintendent a year ago, if he doesn't understand the needs of the city, you know, when you make statements of, you know, the poorest, largest city in the country, you know, it's basically about employment. You know, with certain jobs that they just don't hire black people. And black people don't have basically, when we have a graduating class where the 12th graders are 80% of the 12th graders can't read or do math on grade level, you know, this is what contributes to that problem of employment. So, you know, and then the third thing we always say is we want to include driver's education. Right now, there's only 3 schools that offer driver's education out of 59 high schools. They talk about equity and inclusion and fairness. This school district has not shown any of that stuff. And then they want the people to believe the narratives of, well, we don't have enough money. Well, guess what? You pay your taxes, you buy your soda, you got enough money. You already have the money. It's just that how can you say you don't have enough money where every month you have a school board meeting and you're voting on $1 million contracts? You're not saying we don't have no money, so we don't have no school board meeting. Every month you have a school board meeting, they're giving away millions of dollars. But what's happening now with the school board, and like I said, I sit back and I take my notes and I research this stuff and all. We're dealing with individuals who look to say no. They look for a reason to say no and then want the public to accept the reason of saying no. So what I do, it's no such thing as spare time anymore. This is like a job. And it's a volunteer job because I'm not getting paid or anything. But I'm countering the volunteer jobs of the school board. The school board wants to say it's volunteer for them. But yeah, it is volunteer for you. What you put in? Maybe 8 hours or 10 hours a month, and that's it. Then you go back to your lives. That's not fair for our community. That's not fair for our students. This for me has turned into a full-time job with no pay. To put it that way, to put it mildly. So, this is a very crucial month because next month is when they're going to present what they call an action item in front of the school board. And the school board is just basically going to tell the school district, yes, you can do it this way, or no, you can do it that way. But when we say bring back 5 pools, there's one pool in particular which brought all this stuff up, and it's called Sayre Recreation Center. Now, what we suggest to the school board and the school district, make Sayre an aquatic center responsible for all 7 pools. And if you do that, you would bring back swimming as a curriculum for the students. We're not just talking about, they just want it just to be open for recreation for that community, and that's it. We want them to go all in, bring back swimming as a curriculum, be responsible for all 7 pools, in the direction of all 7 pools,
So I got a couple questions. So I definitely always like to lead off with, like, the school district is really truly producing what it wants to produce. This is what we getting is what it wants to produce. So we got to push back against that.
Right.
So for everybody to be like, it's not working right, it's not supposed to. So let's start there. It's not supposed to work right, but it is up to us to make it work right within the systems and everything. The other thing for me is I feel like they trying to eliminate public school, period. Like, soon it's just going to be you can afford to go to school or you can't. I just really think that that's where they're moving with a lot of the things that they're doing. They're eliminating as much, and they not caring about young folks not being in school, because I'm on Broad Street. Young folks don't be in school. They don't be in school. They be just out here. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. So that is 2 things. So this not 2 things. So, and the other thing is one of the issues, before I ask what I'm gonna ask about the superintendent, is one of the issues that I've been hearing with the swimming pools is we don't have enough lifeguards. Like, there's not enough lifeguards to cover all of those pools. But what it sounds like to me, and I know that Sayre was a training facility for the lifeguards at one time too, correct?
Yes,
or no?
That's correct.
So what it sounds like to me is, and Sayre's in the 18th district, we gonna be doing, we do Credible Messenger in the 18th district, and for me, that's one of the things that I'm gonna be pushing and promoting in that community in particular, because Sayre is in that district. It's like we need to have more push as a community about them opening this up. But what you saying, going to the lifeguard thing, is not only can we just open it up for recreation, it can be skill set training, because we need more lifeguards. I know a bunch of young folks who were willing to be a lifeguard. I used to see it when I was a young boy going to the pools. Being a lifeguard was kind of thorough. You feel what I'm saying? It was kind of cool, like you the lifeguard. And if we starting at 16, right? We could start at 16. That's the age of the lowest age for a lifeguard, right? So now we talking about employment for young folks. You know what I'm saying? That comes out of this too. But then also, it's a life-saving component to it. Right. People knowing how to swim saves lives. So we should be pushing that on all levels to make sure that we're training people just to learn how to swim. We're bringing people in just to save lives. It's really that deep. You can really put it up there like that. We're using this to save lives because we taking young folks out of just idleness, as we know is an issue. We're producing jobs that can go as low as 16. So that demographic that we say is causing a lot of the issues, which is a little younger, but a lot of people tend to think that it's just like 16, but they really start at 12, 13, 14 when it start getting radical, like for real. But a lot of their old heads, you could be making them, because they consider them dudes 2 and 3 years older than them to be their old heads now. So if your man is saying, listen, I'm getting paid to be at the swimming pool, where do you think his homie's going to be? They going to be at the swimming pool. And where you think the little girl's going to be? They going to be at the swimming pool. And they going to be learning a skill. They going to be having a job. Idle time is not there. And we have something producing multiple things in the community, and all you got to do is open it up. So I definitely am a part of what we'll be doing as Credible Messenger is help push that definitely at SARE. So the thing that I want to ask about the superintendent is this. It always trips me out when people get new jobs, right? And part of you getting a new job, you had to do some type of research about the job that you're taking. But when these people get new jobs, we are quick to allow them off the hook by them saying, well, I just started. Give me some time. So why did you take a job where it's this amount of research that needed to be done for you to do your job? But when you get into the job, all of a sudden, you don't know your job. And you need a year or 2 years or 5 years to study. Why are we accepting that excuse when you have to have a certain skill set and understanding of your job to run for it, to want to be it? So you're telling me you had no understanding of Philadelphia schools before you came to SUIT. So you should come into this thing already ready, set, go. It's that type of job. So what do we need 5 years more of study? Because that's what I've heard that his thing is. And all of that is, for y'all who don't know, that's just people gonna get paid for a whole bunch of research, and by the time we can enact anything, somebody else gonna be saying the same thing he said 5 years ago. We need to study this again. But how are we studying something that this is a job that you gotta know where you're going into to take the job? That makes you qualified.
Yeah, if I may, next month's school board meeting is very important also because this new superintendent is going to give his 5-year strategic plan. Which is funny, and if I do the math on the 5-year strategic plan, he's going to give a 5-year plan. First of all, he's already been here 1 year. Mm-hmm. He's going to give a plan where it's going to start in his second year. Now, when a plan starts in his second year, by the time the third year comes on with the plan, he's going to have 2 years left in his contract before that 5-year plan is in completion. So here again, he's already setting us up. Or not us, whoever the new board would be, because the new board will be like everybody else and say, well, I wasn't here when the old board did that. So now we got the new board and say, okay, we're going to give you an extension so you can see the rest of your 5-year plan. Right. Now, back to your pool issue. The pool issue is this. We got to remember there's 2 different pools here, 2 different groups of pools. There's the city pool that only operates 7 weeks out of a year. Period. So in other words, when a young child goes to become a lifeguard, first of all, he doesn't have the pool area or the pool space to do his training. That's why when a lot of them show up to become lifeguards, they fail on the first try because someone tells them, well, you got to be in condition for this stuff. So that's why we say these indoor pools are vital, because here they will help produce the lifeguards for the summertime. Plus, once the summer is over, they can continue their strengthening skills. So when the next time comes around, because they have to research every year to become a lifeguard. So, and then they say the average cost of a private pool today is $50 a month for people to go to a pool. So these pools will also be free in the neighborhood. People got to understand that these school pools will be free. They can show up, their families can show up, everybody can show up and have a good time. So that's what we have. We have 2 different pool issues here. We have a 5-year strategic plan that finally we're going to hear. And that's why we say to the public, and I'm going to be in front. My wife already put him on notice last school board meeting that, hey, if you don't let the community in, see, that's the problem. The grassroots community has still not been involved in all this stuff. Just imagine a person like myself, and I can't get on any committee that this man has. So she's gave him the first notice that maybe you might not be the guy for this school district. I'm going to give him the final notice that when he doesn't bring back junior high school, see, when you talk about children in these groups and they're young as 10 years old on up, this is the breeding ground for that. Your K to 8s are the breeding grounds for that. If nothing else they got in common, they know they're not getting a quality education here. So they know they got that in common. So then they get out of school at 3 o'clock. They're there. They're already formed. Their groups are formed. Now they're going out into the community to do whatever. So here again, junior high school's number 1 is vital, and then your pools number 2 is vital. So these are 2 things. Plus your driver's ed. If nothing else, you got a graduate because you gave them a diploma. Who knows what it's worth? But if you give them a driver's license, you know how to drive.
And it's a bunch of jobs that you can get immediately if you got a driver's license.
There you go.
It's funny because a driver's license is more important in the work field now post-pandemic because everything is being delivered. Everybody is dropping something off or picking something up. So if you could get a young person a driver's license, they could instantly be working. Now, one of the issues that businesses say about that is the insurance. But y'all know y'all need workers. And this is a very malleable demographic. So you will have you have a better training opportunity because it's a reason why the military want people at 18. You know what I'm saying? Because those brains are still very elastic. They're very malleable. So you could do the same thing with any type of training. So again, if I get you a license, I make you employable. But they don't want them to be employable. Like, that's what we're forcing. I'm going to keep saying that part so y'all can understand. We're not working for the same thing. The school district could say that they're working for the same thing that we're working for. We're all trying to make sure our kids are the most best and brightest and productive. That's not really what it is. And it's historical. So we don't really got to go down that hole. But getting somebody a license instantly makes them employable.
Can I say something, please?
Yes, you can.
The thing about what they want, it doesn't matter what they want. One of the things I do is I demand, I decree, and I claim what it's to be, what it is and what it's to be. So as my husband would say, they haven't put him on
committees.
On a committee, right? But that's the way I look at it. They haven't put him on a committee yet, right? The thing about us understanding, overstanding, and those that can't, they're understanding, and that's fine too, because wherever you are, you are. We have to stand up, speak up. And people talk about fighting, battling, and struggling. I say I don't fight. I've never struggled in my life, and I don't battle. The Creator got me. And so I walk as I'm being told to know that you know that you know. Our ancestors didn't sit back and say they don't want us to have this and they don't want us to have that. They said, we creating our own. If our ancestors could start with a one-room schoolhouse, right? Before that room, it was under a tree possibly, right? And so for me, I walk and I speak what it's to be and what it is, because I decided that when I was taught the power of your words, right? When you walk in that power and you own that power, that's what it's about. And so there are things that we need to do together. I was given instructions by the Creator. I was shown 3 doors that are open. And I'm sure it's a whole lot more since what God showed me. And each one had a gold key in the door, right? It was wide open. I was told that we are to take each other by the hand and walk through. So many people are doing the same work, but are concerned with competition. You all grew up. I don't compete ever. But you all grew up in sports. In sports, you compete. And so what happens, it becomes a way of life, oftentimes. And I never say everything. I try not to say everything, everybody, nobody, right? Because there's always somebody. The key is for you to connect with those bodies you're supposed to. And what happens too often is we get caught up in being caught up and get sidetracked. So what I want to say, you were talking about driver's education, as my husband was talking about driver's education. And one of the things that I realized, because when you're talking about mobilizing, when you're talking about moving, right? not only driving, but aviation, right? When I looked at the kind of jobs that could be created, truck drivers, we just got back from traveling several states. Almost everywhere you go, you see truck drivers needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the cities, you see drivers needed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason, even for us who have the resources, to pay for our young people to get driver's ed.
Mm-hmm.
While we're saying this is what we want, and saying to them, you're going to give it to us in the meantime, while they're working through the fact
We
that
making it happen.
you do it. You just do it. When I think about just things that a lot of people would look at our community and think that's leisure, who are they, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they to want swimming? Okay, it's me going on vacation and
Mm-hmm.
we go swimming. I'm saying a lot of our
Right.
community, but to say we demand our children to learn how to swim is just what we need to be saying. Not sitting around discussing it, because it is a necessity. So often, so many of our people have drowned. And we went back to the beginning when they stole us from home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some jumped in the ocean and said, I'm swimming back home.
Right.
Okay. And when I was in Senegal in 2010, I spoke about this. We're on WURD every Friday from 2 to 2:20. I'm 900 AM or 96.1 FM. And what I did was I talked about being in Senegal, watching young brothers like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. What you call it?
Surfboard.
Surfing.
Hmm.
Oh my God. You talking about powerful in their black suits?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I ain't talking about 10. I ain't talking about 20. But to see them on the ocean first thing in the morning, getting their work on in, oh my gosh, I'm like, okay. Well, Horace took flying and boating classes many years ago. And so I thought, okay, we know about Cessnas, the small planes, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our children can get a license to fly a plane oftentimes before they can get a driver's license. When I looked at
And
when I
that's like with the drone programs as well, right?
absolutely, absolutely. So with the aviation and he plays table tennis. My daughter, he used to compete table tennis, and my daughter did billiards.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When I look at the kind of money our young people can make, it's like $100,000 a year with billiard, with aviation, with table tennis. 100,000 plus you're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
The young people that I watch playing table tennis are traveling the world and making up to 100,000 a year, right? It should be us. I'm not saying I'm saying it should be us. It should be our children.
Mm-hmm.
Too many times we see people who don't look like us in a position to judge us when we're doing that. And that's why I'm saying that competition thing is
Right.
something else. But I just want to say, when my husband talks about junior high schools, bless you, many of the people who we lost, for lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
many of the people that got off track because once they left elementary school, there was a disconnect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because their elementary school started going K-8. And I was at one school and they told me the eighth grader was 18 years old in eighth grade. That 18-year-old should not have been in a school with a kindergarten or a pre-kindergarten. That
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be. So here they are, and they were feeling um, like they shouldn't have been there, and they shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this energy with it. Younger ones are looking at the older ones, and they're not the best example
Mm-hmm.
when they're in elementary school trying to be grown, right? And so when they go to the ninth grade in the high school, the behavior is off the hook because they're trying to prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the other side of it is most of us who are in our 60s, we went to schools where we had junior high. You learned how to cook, right? You learned how to produce something. So you saw for the guys, they had shop, but you were using your hands and you were producing something. You felt valuable, right? So to see these children in that K-8 model, we've constantly said it doesn't work. Not for our community.
Right.
If you have an area where it works, then leave it alone. But bring our children back home. We have children that are traveling 2 hours, an hour and a half to go to school, an hour and a half to 2 hours to come home every day. Now I could go to New York for the time they're on the buses
Right.
traveling, trying to go to school. When they're getting there and they're not getting a whole lot more than they would get in their own neighborhood. My thing is bring them back and give them the kind of education they deserve. And the only way that is really going to happen if we step in and say, we're watching you. We're monitoring you. We're in the schools as well as outside the schools. You all are doing some incredible stuff. But oftentimes, it's almost like serving the children up. I've watched our brothers outside the schools, and they got their suits and ties on, and they're greeting each child that goes in, have a good year. Did you go in and see what's in there?
Exactly.
Did you go in and meet the staff? But to stand outside and say, have a good year, it's like, wait a minute, what do you really think
Yeah,
about
you bringing
me?
me to the door and then leaving me, to whatever happens when you
Right.
come back 6 hours
Right.
later, 8 hours later.
Right.
And the same point that I made last time you was on and you talked about it, because I believe this. I believe that bringing junior high school back would make, and you showed the statistics too of where the school district has gone since it was eliminated. But for me, it's the rites of passage part. Like, that's one of our biggest issues with men and women. We don't have a rites of passage system for our children. We don't have it in individual homes. Some homes do, but most people don't. They be looking for it. I talk to a lot of moms that be like, oh, y'all got something going on for when he going through that change? Yeah, we got, bring them down. Like, let me talk to him. Like, they need to be, she need to be around other women that's showing her. He needs to be around other men. And that's another thing for me about community parenting. I always say that because it's not supposed to just be me raising my child.
That's right.
It's not supposed to be me and mom raising my child. It's not even supposed to be me, mom, and a possible third. We all supposed to be raising these babies that's in our community because they're going to affect our community.
That's right.
And you seeing it on the negative side when y'all talking about gun violence or just young boys being unruly. That's because nobody's trying to raise them. You know what I'm saying? I ain't raising nobody else's kids. Well, then this is what your community going to look like, and I don't want to hear the issues. I don't want to hear you talking about it's their fault because I use the same thing all the time. If you've been on a planet 12 years, whose fault is it? It can't possibly be yours. You only been on the planet 12 years. If you only been on the planet 14 years, it can't possibly be your fault. You only been on the planet for 16 years is not enough. You feel what I'm saying? So that be my thing. And the junior high thing to me sounds like and is rites of passage. When you talk about why do you have teenagers and basically toddlers in the same school? That just don't make sense. Like you said, they're going to follow behind this other person who don't know ish. But to them it look like they do because they bigger.
That's right.
They older.
That's right.
And we all want to get older when we young. Like, it's like, I can't wait till I'm 16. You can wait. I'm telling you, enjoy being 8, man. Enjoy being 8. Like, you're never going to get this back. The thing about being a child, and I'm gonna let you speak to the rites of passage part, or however you want to speak to it, and you can please tell them the statistics if you got them with you right there about how the school district has gone like this since education has gone like this since and we're not saying that junior high school was the end all be all because we had issues then, but it shows where once that was eliminated, it went downhill from there. Like, it really went crazy. Like, it was a free fall. Like, they was like, the process is taking too long when we doing stuff outside of school or busing them out to communities that's messing with their identity. That's taking too long because you can still wind up being productive, just you don't have the identity that you need, and that can be brought back when you come to the crib. I can be like, you acting like a sellout, bro. But you already got that education, so we can work with that. But if you don't got no education, it's like we can't work with nothing. Like, it just is what it is. And they felt like, to me, the powers that be, like you said, they felt like it's taking too long. So let's eliminate this. But please tell them, like, do you, if you have that, please tell them like the statistics that you got from the school board
Yeah. Well,
about
right.
once it was eliminated, what was the percentages? Like how would they say that? Like,
Well, the information that I had came back and which started a platform of a show called No More 0%. Back in 2018, 2019, we had 24 high schools where the ninth graders tested in at 0%. This is 24 out of your 52 high schools. So this is all your comprehensive high schools and all your neighborhood high schools. So that being said, the numbers came out to like 8% away from total failure. You know, we're having school board meetings. That's why it's important for people to show up at a school board meeting, because we have this new current superintendent making statements like, well, we have teachers who don't know how to teach reading. You know, so how long has a child been in that platform where he didn't even have it, he showed up every day, but he didn't have nobody to teach him how to read. You know, but yet it's reading, it's the sciences, it's the math. You know, you got a textbook that you can't read. You know, that's what came out of this last meeting. So we got teachers that can't teach the students how to read. So that's what you have on the numbers there. You know, my thing is this. You know, we got the mayor race going on with everybody else running as well. And they said we have 480,000 black registered voters. You know, we just need some people to show up at a school board meeting. You know, I mean, we're talking 10, 20, 30 people. Because of this pool, we have raised 30 people to show up at a school board meeting. So that's good. You know, that's starting it off. But can you imagine if they're just constantly standing room only on both levels of black people now demanding what should be happening with our children?
right.
You know, that's the power. That's what we need right now to get what we need done. The money is there. We pay taxes for everything. You know, and then what's on the table right now, because everything crosses everything else, they want to put, I guess, a regular income person up against a low income person and saying, well, the developers want to produce low income housing at the expense of, for that, we want you to give us 10 years tax abatements. So, but when if they were to do that, then that's your tax money that would not be going to the school district. So here on the other hand, the school district is saying, well, we need more money, but yet you want to grant a developer 10 years of not paying taxes? You know, stuff just doesn't make any sense. You know, but here again, we're in front of their faces saying that to them weekly and then monthly.
And it's go ahead, my fault.
No, I got a lot to say, so go ahead and say it.
But so my other thing is what you said about like the like shops and home ec, and you know what I mean. And I remember I went from K to 6 at Mead on 18th and Oxford. You know what I mean, and I got a great education from Mead in the middle of blight, disenfranchisement. Like it really looked crazy then. Like it was a war going on, like, and it was against us, but it looked like it. The way the homes looked like bombs came down. Like walking through whole blocks and only 2 people living on the block. Every other house is abandoned and tore down. This is what 18th and Master, Jefferson, all around that 121 area was in like 80s, early 90s. Like this joint was crazy. And I live back on Master Street now and seeing that even the projects on 16th Street is community housing now. It's campus housing now. Like you got students living in an old project. You feel what I'm saying? But for decades, this joint couldn't produce nothing for the people that was there. But now it's campus housing. And it's crazy to me that is like it's so easy to see. But what is one of the things that you think that we need to say? We say a lot to our people about showing up. What is one of the things, and either one of y'all can answer or both of y'all will be even dope. What is like one of the things that you feel like that you harp on that's like this can get the people out? You know what I mean? This can like I know it's a bunch of information, but for me it always be like I'm a reason and logic person. And that's one of my biggest sticking points when I tell people about schools. And then when I talk about teachers, I always talk about learning styles. So that be my argument all the time. It's a bunch of other issues, but when you say a teacher saying that they can't teach somebody how to read, do you know their learning style? Is that important for a teacher to know? Is that something that our parents should know and be able to tell the teachers? How do we get that information to them? You feel what I'm saying? So that be my thing. And then one of my other things is they took reason and logic out of the schools. They don't teach that no more. I got taught that when I was at Mead. My daughter didn't get taught that. I taught that to her. Her mom taught that to her. But those books are not there. I don't hear children coming and saying that they read phonics books that tells them how to, and I always use the same example. They would give you a sentence and say what happened before this sentence, what happens after this sentence. They would give you a picture book and say what do you think happened before this picture, and what that does is help critical thought so you can predict outcomes, because that's one of our young people's issues. They have no idea how to predict outcomes. They're in the space that they're in at all times. You feel what I'm saying? So what are some of the things that y'all think, like these are the things I try to harp on to bring the people out, to bring people to those board meetings?
You know what I want to say?
Mm-hmm.
I get spiritual messages, and one message was, go back to the basics for new beginnings. This is our time. This is reparation time. I don't care what people say. This is reparation time. And that's what was being discussed in 2015 at the United Nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
They signed all the stuff they need to sign and say this is our decade.
Right.
Us, the descendants. This is our decade. How many people know that? How many people know that there's a memorial on the grounds of the United Nations in New York called ARC, A-R-C, of return? How many know that, right? Here we are, and I remember when I first got the information, because I was the co-chair of 2 non-government organizations at the UN. So I was there for almost 10 years before COVID. I'm telling you, in my mind, all over the world, people were trying to decide how they were going to pay us because they knew they owed us. And then all of a sudden, this happened and that happened, right? But what was deep about it, they said from 2015 to 2024, and I was thinking, is a decade 10 years? So it seemed like it should be 2015 to 25. Right. So I'm like, they took a year from the beginning. I mean, for real, right? That's how I look
Even how they expressing it to you, they like, nah, you can't get the whole set. Y'all better figure this out now.
Right. So here we are, sometimes not realizing our power, right? It doesn't take a lot because so many groups have different issues that they're working on. If you shut the streets down and everybody say, you take the time, you take the time, you take the time, do you know how many people would be in the streets of Philadelphia all at the same time? Oftentimes there's a group in North Philly doing something, a group in West Philly doing something, a group in Germantown doing something, doing the same things oftentimes, but at the same time. If, for me, to open those swimming pools up, to get driver's education, to get junior high schools back, all it takes is a collective. You can come and speak about whatever you want to speak about, right? When you get to the mic, your group. But if you have 150 groups, because we got that, right? And everybody takes that mic. You know, one thing we know is folks don't want to be inconvenienced when it's time to go home from work. People do not want to be inconvenienced when they're trying to go somewhere. So you slow them down every week. This is what you want to hear because this is what's happening. This is our reality. If we're going to change it, we have to do it in oneness. We have to declare. We have to decree. We have to claim. Listen, you ain't got to fight. They are not expecting. One of the school police lieutenants said, Mama Gail, I thought they told me you was bringing a couple of hundred people. I was like, do you think I'm going to tell you when we coming? For real. Do you think I'm going to tell you? And they were all waiting. All these cops were out there. It's like, look, not today. Right? But it's time now.
Right.
It is time now. You all have the energy that we used, right? We were out there. I shut down the expressway right by the school district on the Parkway. I was involved with Johnny Sample Sports Club. I headed his education committee, bless his soul. And he was on the radio, and the cell phones just came out, and I was on somebody's cell phone because we didn't even all have one, right? And I was saying, send the men, Johnny, send the men. and call. So the lines were jammed up.
Right.
The streets were shut down, and the men were constantly coming. Oh, peace and love. All we have to do is be who we came here to be in oneness. It shouldn't be competitive to change stuff. These children are out there looking for change.
Yes.
They're looking for people that look like them to stand up for them. We have some of the craziest acting black people in schools. It shouldn't be, we can talk about white folks all we want, but we know people that should not be in front of anybody's children, not even their own. But because they're local, because people know them and think this is how y'all act, they're in the schools. Well, that has to stop.
Right.
Ignorant is ignorant is ignorant. I wanted to say, speaking in Gratisport a couple of times to the lifers, a brother came to me and he whispered in my ear, tell the young people, the young brothers to stop coming back. But I thought about that, and I thought that became his familiar. Because if he went away, if he went away for 6 months and came back home, it's different in 6 months. And even now, because that was a few years ago. So even now, when he comes back home, now mind you, he's behind in everything. He can't read, write, right? Right? He can't read, can't write, can't do math. What is he to do, right? So I was saying to my husband, imagine when we can't see something clearly and we're putting glasses on. Well, imagine they're standing, and somebody your size is standing there and can't read, right? This is a position they've been put in. So I was thinking, as I was reflecting like this morning, and I was saying something to someone on the phone, this is really bothering me. Before COVID, I went and represented a parent, and we were sitting there, and she asked me to help her out because her son was in 5th grade, right? And he didn't know the months of the year. He had not had an IEP, which is an individual education plan, right? She said in 3 years. So I went and sat down with the principal. She called the counselor. We sat down together. And this particular principal wanted me to know because she wasn't even in the building. When they called her and said I was there,
Right.
she came immediately back to the school and said, let's have a meeting right now. She said to me, she had 30 students that had not had an IEP in 3 years, because that's how long she had been there. The mother said, you know what? It was even a year before. So my son in 5th grade has not had an IEP in 4 years. And she said it prior to remembering that it's 4 years, that when she sat with him, he wrote like he was in the 1st grade.
Right.
Now, she had been advocating for him to no avail, right? So my concern now for those children, I believe it was 30 that the principal knew of before COVID, that how many others is it in that, was it in that particular school? But the other side of it is here we are 3 years later. If they were 4 years behind or 3 years behind 3 years ago, oh my goodness.
Where they at now?
Where are they? And that's a concern. Now back to that prison thing, that became the familiar. When I went through Greatersford as a VIP, I'm walking past all the shops. It's like factories in there, right? Now the very people that they won't employ on the streets, they got you working for $2 a day or whatever,
getting
right?
busy in them shops.
Right? Making all
Getting
kinds
busy.
of stuff, right? So I'm just saying we can change this, and there's nothing complicated about it. We can change each and everything that's going on, but we got to say it, believe it, and just do it.
No doubt.
It's not complicated.
I got somebody in the show. He don't got a mic right now. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely want him to show his face. Let the folks know he might be able to go to the door and grab a mic real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, like, matter of fact, can you slide over here real quick? I want to ask you, cause you important to this conversation, man. Cause you but tell people who you are. You can get the stool, or you could use this mic right here. You could use that mic. Just slide that joint over a little bit. Let the people know who you are.
Man, good afternoon. It's Keith Freeman, Team Ghostly. Make your presence felt. That's the motto of my artist. And I own Team Ghostly LLC, which is an empowering, just a brand, man, that does, merchandise, apparel, events, things of that nature. So, yeah.
Now he's a friend of the show too. He been on the show before. He performed on the show before. I don't know if he, was prepared to do any performing. I don't want to put him on the spot, so I'm gonna ask. Did he have anything queued up? You know what I'm saying? Something already on deck?
Well, I already know Toot got it. Anything I do, Toot got it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I really appreciate, we both queers. You know what I'm saying? So we always got to shout that out to everybody, let them know, you know what I'm saying? Everybody at Aquarius don't move like us, but it's some things that's very similar, man, and we move in a certain way. And that's just a personal thing for me and him. But it's funny because this brother right here, I love when me and my brothers are able to reconnect, because he's one of the brothers when I first started doing this. We was talking about this earlier. When I first came home and I was in the mix and I'm volunteering and I'm doing community events and all that, he one of those first people, like Dr. Wilson. It's a lot. Erica Stewart. It's a lot of folks that I know is moving around and doing different things that when I first came home to what Mama Gail said, like we doing things similar all over the city, and we need to link up. We need to have that big push. You know what I mean? And the brother just, he got with me just out of the blue this morning. So it's one of those things with like the ancestors line stuff up, man. We just gotta walk in it. That's the blessing right there, and you gotta work it. But he does music that's, I'm not gonna say conscious. It's like like to say is cautionary tale. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from this. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm drilling everybody, but I know what it is. I've been around it. I've been in it. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna tell you this story as if this is what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why I appreciate this brother a lot. And the times when I asked him to pull up, even though he was like, man, you be telling me to pull up, and I don't come. But it was times when I was at the beginning of this, and it was hot. And he pulled up with his folks, and I don't forget stuff like that. He pulled up with his family, man, and it wasn't a whole bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? But he pulled up and he let me know that the support is real. And I'm always, one of the reasons why the name of the show, the theme of the show is love, support, and grace. You know what I mean? That's that grace. That's that support being shown. That's that love being shown. But if he got something queued up for the brother, because we want to hear some music, I love hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I love hip hop. So if he got something queued up, or you can cue something up for us, man.
Toot.
Jump out there and let the people know what you do, man.
Want to be free, Toot? I know you got want to be free, Toot. I think that'd be a great one.
And the thing that I appreciate about it is like this wasn't scheduled. Like we did talk earlier, but I ain't gonna go ahead, man. Handle your business. I'm gonna get to talk.
Okay. This one is called The One. Back to the basics, like we said, right? Back to the basics when confusion start to set in. This is for the real ones that the game never let in. They gon' feel the presence, don't you worry, here I come. I'm weaving through the matrix, can't you see I'm the one? Back to the basics when confusion start to set in. This is for the real ones that the game never let in. They gon' feel the presence, don't you worry, here I come. I'm weaving through the matrix, can't you see? Told myself they gon' feel the presence. Gotta sharpen up my mind cause it's such a weapon. Be patient through the grind and cherish every second. When you run your own race, you never come in second. When you get it from the muscle, then you really flexing. Boots on the ground, yeah, I be really stepping. They say my music is a blessing, I be really repping. I just always seem to find a way when it come to pressure. Get your mind right, then you get your grind right. Cause life is mostly mental things that happen when the time right. Don't believe me now, okay. You'll see in hindsight, y'all play sloppy, I'm sharp like it's prime night. Back to the basics when confusion start to set in. This is for the rumors that the game never let in. They gon' feel the presence, don't you worry, here I come. I'm weaving through the matrix, can't you see I'm the one? Back to the basics when confusion starts to set in. This is for the real ones that the game never let in. They gon' feel the presence, don't you worry, here I come. I'm weaving through the matrix, can't you see I'm the one? I'm what the game need, you gotta understand me. Jealous people won't, so they see me at the Grammys. Waves all flowing while I'm shouting out the family. They say I think I'm the shit and that's why they can't stand me. Well, when you lit, they gon' have a fit. I'm just out here on my grind trying to make it hit. Now put your hands up in the air like I made the kick. I'm the one who check all of the boxes if you gave a list. Somebody who was made to spit. So everybody should get down like I'm waving it. Should I bring my A game? I ain't the one to be playing with. I should be your favorite. Back to the basics when confusion start to set in. This is for the real ones that the game never let in. They gon' feel the presence, don't you worry, here I come. I'm weaving through the matrix, can't you see I'm the one? Back to the basics when confusion start to set in. This is for the real ones that the game never let in. They gon' feel the presence, don't you worry, here I come. I'm weaving through the matrix, can't you see I'm the one? Uh huh. Yeah. Mama, mama, my mama said, 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 my mama said. Shout out the street sweeper. My mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Yeah, my mama said. Your prayers, I'm staying away from drama, yeah. And lately it's evident. I'm the president like Obama, yeah. And I know how you love me. I do. But I know how you love me more. I'm seeing this after. I wish I would have seen it before. Mama said there'll be days like this. Yeah. But I ain't never prayed like this. Never prayed like this. Thank God we was raised like this. Cause most people they'll break like this. They'll break like this. They used to put me in a cage like this. Now a mask on my face like this. You used to tell me I was great like this. Is that smile on your face I miss? Mama. Mama said, mama. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Mama. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Mama. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. My mama said. My mama said, my mama said. My mama said. My mama said, my mama said. Mama. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Yeah. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Mama. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said. My mama said. My mama said, my mama said. My mama said. Yeah. Love you, mama. Last born, mama told me I was special. This easy baby boy, it's gonna test you. What you get away with now, I'm gonna catch you. Make sure you give your thanks to the Lord, cause he blessed you, yeah. Ain't nobody tell you what you can't do, cause mama said it ain't nothing I can't handle. Born in 91, Eagles had Randall, Will Smith, summertime, yeah, that was the jam too. Mama said you look good and you feel good. She was always sweet as pie and kept it real hood. Even when she wasn't able, mama still would. That's why I gotta go so fucking hard as I damn should. Mama said she ain't never raised a chump. In my head, that's what plays when I'm in a slump. Mama said stand and fight, you ain't gotta run. Mama said do your thing, baby, you the one. Yeah. Mama. Mama. Mama said, yeah. My mama said, my mama said, my mama said. Yeah, my mama said, my mama said, my mama said.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Listen,
thank you.
to always, it's gonna get rewarded though. I'm telling you. Me and the brother was talking about it earlier. I always appreciate the time it's an investment, man. Trust me, too, it's an investment, yo. But tell them who you are again. Tell them what platforms you on. Tell them where you gonna be at. Tell me some shows. Tell me a little bit of everything, man. Just throw it out there. It's kind of quick, but hit it off.
Again, my name is Marquise Freeman, but my artist name is Keith Freeman. I use my name, it's pretty simple and plain, as you can see. I speak a story in my music. I'm on Team Ghostly. You could tap in at teamghostly.com. TEAMGHSOTLY is the hoodie say. .com. And right now I'm actually in the midst of working on some shows. I just got finished doing a 2-day tour at a charter school on 16th and Vine. Oh my goodness, String Theory. String Theory is what it's called. It's a performing arts school, and they're preparing for the PSSAs. And I just did a 2-day concert there last week. It was awesome. So I'm building off of that right now. So that has opened some doors and has allowed me to meet some new different people to make some things happen. So there's some things coming up, but if you just tap in at teamghostly.com, you can find everything there, from my music to merchandise, events, interviews, and all of that good stuff.
Well, I'm gonna keep me more on site. You know what I mean? Like, for real, man. Like, today can't be the last day. It won't be the last day. You know what I'm saying? We gonna link up. I've been telling people it's gonna be a really, really good summer. Like, really, really good. I'm telling y'all. I claim mine. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny. I'm gonna let y'all get a word. A small word, because we gotta get out. We over time. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to say this one thing the Queen said, Mama Gail said, and I live by it. Y'all out here saying the city is just so much violence, is this, that, and the third. I be out here, and I move around, and I'm not scared of black people. and I haven't done anything to my people but love on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk in it, like she said. I really do walk in it. I don't carry a gun. I'm letting y'all know I don't have a gun. You see me? I don't got one. I'm serious, cause I just move around and I ain't did nothing to you, and I'm not scared. And all I want to do is get his love to y'all. You know what I'm saying? So how you gonna do that? And they be receiving it. That's the part that they lied to us about. That's what we lied to each other about. That we be loving on each other. Like I told him earlier, like I don't be around a whole bunch of black folk that just don't care about black people. Like they might not have the information and all that, but at the base level, it's like I just don't be around those type of people. And it's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no minority of black folk. And like she said, a lot of our young folks they waiting for you to love on them. You know what I'm saying? They waiting for you to love them. But if we continue to fear monger around about our own folks in our music, in the media, the shows we watch, the games that we play, the conversations that we have amongst each other, we're doing a lot of the fear mongering that we say other people do about us, and then that makes more attention than what's actually going on in the streets. It really, you got so many black people talking about they want to be armed because of other black people. And now you got people with arms with high attention, because when you got the gun, you act different. It's just a reality, especially if you're not a person who are trained or carries guns on a regular basis or even understands guns in that way, what the power really is. So you're going to be on shook time. You're going to be on extra tension. You're going to be looking for it. You're going to be looking for this mythical boogeyman that's 12, 13, 14 years old. That's the boogeyman y'all arming up for. So I just want to put that out there because I walk in it. I'm not scared of my little brothers, man. I'm never going to be. So before we slide on out, can y'all, give them something to grow on? I ain't even want to direct on it. Just give them something to grow on.
Well, I just like to say there's somebody in your corner who's, when it comes to the school system, is going to really we're going to bring back these junior high schools. We're going to get these pools open, and we're going to get driver's ed. That's it.
What I want everybody to know is that you know who you are. There are giants among you, and a giant recognizes a giant. And it's time to open up, step out of fear, and walk in faith. The same faith that got you through all that stuff that people don't even know you were in, right? That same faith, just step out, but take each other by the hand. I was shown a storm that would hit this city if people didn't do what they needed to do for these children, unlike anything we've ever seen before. Prior to COVID is when God showed me this. And I'm telling you, I feel so good because I believe that he gave us a reprieve a couple of times, right? But it's up to us to save as many as we can. It's up to us to reclaim as many as we can. Children especially, because that's who they're after. The little and the most innocent ones is who they want. And we have to remember, reconnect, reclaim, and recommit. It's nothing complicated about it. You said it, baby. You are the one. Each and every one of us who is the one knows that. And so it's important that when you get to where you're supposed to get, and you do that by listening to the Creator within you, that tells you where to go. If you're going left and the Creator says go right, turn. Don't even think about it. Because when you get there, the person, the people, the situations that you were supposed to experience, you will experience. And so I tell my young people that I teach spiritually, when you get the call, show up. And then when you show up, be totally present. I added the totally today. And then watch the gifts that come as a result of you showing up and opening up. That's the present, right? You open up and watch the information that comes. Those of us have been waiting. I came back from heaven for this. I was living down south, left and went to the Creator in heaven. Right. I say the heavenly realm. And when he said, you have to go back, I was hoping somebody was behind me. He said, you have to go back. I said, back to Philadelphia, back to South Carolina. He was very specific. That's why we're here now. Right. And many of us are on assignment to support, assist, and help you all to do what it is we all came to do. Long before you were born, Can you imagine that if it was written, that it was written that you'd be here at this time doing this in one of the most spiritual and holy cities on this planet? We have the power to change this. We have the power to shift it. When it's time to come together, let's do that. God bless you. Peace and love. There's a big event tomorrow at the school district at 5. I know you have something.
Say it one more
going on.
time. Let
There's
let
a-
them know. At 5 at the
At
school
5
district.
o'clock, 5 to 8:30, there's going to be a dinner. They're looking for some performers to come because this is a big celebration because
Right.
so many children, so many families have had such loss. So can I give my number?
Yes, you can.
267-379-6184. I'm Mama Gail. This is Barbara Horace. 267-379-6184. 267-379-6184. Call us. Say, I want to help.
Ain't no doubt. That sound like my Joan when I first started doing this. I ain't been giving out my money, my number like Mike Jones lately, but I definitely give out the cards. And I'm on the same time. Text me. Please text me. I know some people be like, this dude don't answer his phone. He don't answer. I see you. I'm not blowing you off, but it'd be an order of operation sometime. One of the things I want to put out there before we close the show is I've been seeing a little bit more people being pulled over in Southwest Philly and West Philly, not so much down north yet. It's still kind of like the whole thing, but people are starting to get pulled over again. I need y'all to understand that.
Oh.
And with the other thing with that is I've been hearing more about stop and frisk. I have some young folks tell me they already doing it, but I'm hearing
protest,
politicians
yeah.
and everybody kind of talking about semblance of something that don't work. So what went on is the cops kind of pulled back, however, whatever, with their cars and whatever. I don't even care. They pulled back pandemic after pandemic, things went crazy. And now, slowly but surely, it's coming back to we about to just start locking everybody up because we already got y'all riled up doing all the stuff y'all doing. Y'all already in the middle of it, and we just gonna start locking people up. So that means confrontations with the police are gonna go up. And a lot of things come from that. So y'all can look into it. Y'all can do the information on it. Y'all can be aware of it. I definitely got folks that know the rights, know their rights when we need to know our rights when we dealing with the police. So I definitely got a brother that's coming on. We might do a via situation from Boston. He from Philadelphia, but he's living in Boston now. Shout out to my brother. This is PSA. Philly Service Announcement, Takeover Tuesday, Takeover Love, Support, Grace, Social Activism, Resources, and Art. I am the assist. I appreciate all y'all. That's what we